visits. You got Marvin Jones Jr. doing photo shoots with the U upside down that his mom just posted yesterday. There's some good chit chat about Marvin Jones Jr. and how that visit went. I'll say that there was some good juju coming out of that visit. Just got to see how this play does on the field this season.
And it's also kind of like sales in that, not just that you're trying to sell your program, sell the university and all of that, but you have to be invested enough and have a mindset that you're going to invest a lot of time in some athletes and really care about them as individuals and show them a lot of time, a lot of respect, and invest in them. And they may make a decision to go somewhere else. And you have to be okay with that. You got to be tough enough to be able to forget that and move on. And with this transfer portal, show them still the respect that, hey, we support you. You made a different decision. You're going somewhere else. We respect you. But because it may come back around in a year or 2 or 3 years where a guy that was recruited by you that you built a relationship with that went and decided to go somewhere else, he may not be happy there in a year or 2 and may decide to come back.
Yep, exactly. And I'm seeing some comments here about Marvin Jones Jr. and I think it's very interesting. Miami's obviously heavily after, so is Ohio State, but being down there in Miami, Florida State Miami is heavily after Marvin Jones Jr. But to see him, you don't usually see a lot of recruits, doing the opposite thing to another school. Definitely one that's heavily recruiting him. That was probably right now one of the top 5, top 3 schools after him. Marvin Jones putting the upside down U. I know there might not be a lot of Miami fans here tonight. I heard that the strip clubs got shut down. COVID-19 is just going crazy right now around Coral Gables in that area, but in South Beach. But something to kind of keep an eye on. I don't think he's going to pop anytime soon, but I think that visit went fantastic. The whole staff was outside to greet him. They're around him 24/7, and I think Florida State has got it. We keep on talking about it. It'll be a bigger conversation once we get to late July and August. But being competitive in these games are going to be huge for some of these guys. I think that's just Florida State has done a fantastic job in-house and doing the recruiting. Got to see what happens on the field. Definitely for a guy like Marvin Jones Jr. But putting the U down like that is so disrespectful. That is disrespectful. That's exactly like, how do you go back and visit Miami after that? Can you do that? Like, the other coach is mad. We saw what you did. Why'd you do that? Like, you can't. How does that work? Like, it'd be like, someone going to visit, like Florida, and you've got a kid, a kid that Florida State's heavily after, and he's breaking a spear right there. Like, you don't want that kid back there, or you don't want any kind of part of that. You don't want him anymore. So it goes to say maybe Marvin Jones might have, I don't know. We'll see.
So I think for the school and the coach that's desperate, they let him come back, they visit, and they don't say anything. But to your point about the coaches that get some respect from these players are the ones that say you need to work on A, B, and C. You need to get better here, and there. And in a situation like that, if he's going to go back to Miami and visit, then he's going to gain some respect if a coach or 2 or 3 say something to him about that and say, hey, that's not cool. You don't do that. But I don't know.
I
got to think that's if you're thinking ahead, unless he's just reacting in the moment, if you're thinking ahead at all, that's got to be a pretty clear indication that he's not going there. I got to think.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm feeling. Nate has been hearing a few things on that front, and a lot of that definitely in Marvin Jones' camp. It's very secure on what his decisions are going to be and all that kind of stuff, and definitely understandable. He has a huge, gigantic season, like you said, 245 right now. I think he was. I don't know what he was last year, but he looked like he was. It looks like he's gained at least 20-25 pounds. He looks incredible. It's obviously number 1 guy on Nate's board to grab for FSU. Much needed. That is a true defensive end right there. And you're getting a legacy recruit and one of the best, Florida State's best linebacker ever that's ever gone through Tallahassee and Doak Campbell Stadium. So you got to have Marvin Jones Jr. I just thought that was something interesting that we'll be talking about tomorrow night on our podcast, because I don't usually see that a lot. I don't think the staff was like, hey, put up the U. That's something that, you're talking to that staff. You're daily texting them, calling them, blah, blah, blah. And you're doing that kind of, and that's allowed mom to post that on Twitter. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll just see how the story shakes out, Mark. That's the fun part about recruiting. We're back, baby. COVID-19, bye-bye. We're back to some good stuff here.
That's it.